Okay, so I recently saw a YouTube video of Dave Jones from the EEV blog, which deals with technology, electronics, and so on. And he had another update on something that went viral some years ago, which is solar roads. And the basic idea here is that we could use our road infrastructure also as a power generation infrastructure in addition to facilitating our traffic. We just combine roads with solar panels, and then we have roads that actually produce energy. And so there are a couple of pilot projects on the international stage, and some of them failed spectacularly already. So 2016 project in Normandy, France, for example, funded by the Ministry of the Environment, paved a kilometer of road with solar cells that were specifically developed for this process. As one news report puts it, the solar panels were unable to withstand the wear and tear caused by tractors and thunderstorms, became covered by leaf mold, and created too much noise for local residents, which meant that the speed limit had to be reduced to 70 kilometers per hour. And also, the project generated less electric energy than it was hoped at the start. And then there are solar bike pathways in the Netherlands, some of which needed frequent repair. And a Chinese solar highway also failed. At first, they thought, some of the solar panels were stolen by thieves, but actually the investigation showed that they were just grinded to dust. So they found the small particles of solar panels where the road should be. And so you could think, okay, there's something going wrong here. This is a new technology, and a pilot project failed. But like solar roads are such a bad investment, and you can immediately see this. You don't even need a pilot project. And Dave Jones and others have made sophisticated calculations on why this is a bad idea. But just think about this in very basic layman terms. So first of all, the road is a very bad surface to put a solar panel on. It cannot be tilted towards the sun, which would be optimal for a solar panel, right? It has a lot of dirt on it, so the solar panel, by the nature of the road, cannot have as much sunlight on it as it should. And then, of course, the surface of the road needs to be very sturdy. There's heavy duty trucks running over it. And so there's a lot of wear on the road pavement. And, standard road pavement already gets destroyed over time by the heavy duty traffic on it. And of course, if you build some electronics into it, this is even worse. And then, of course, the cost of doing that, right? Combining the road with a solar panel, you need a special pavement that on one hand is very sturdy, on the other hand, it also needs to be transparent, right? So the sunlight can reach the actual solar panel below the surface. And so this is a really horrible idea because it needlessly combines the sort of dumbest way to install a solar panel with the dumbest way to build a road. And so you get all the worst out of two bad worlds. And this doesn't require a pilot project. So why do governments invest in that? And I think it's because it's a green fashion. It's like roads and traffic and emissions and so on are seen as bad, and solar energy is seen as good. So they combine the two, and then they pretend this is some kind of sustainable green version of the bad road. And of course, they can spend taxpayer money on it, and they will never be held accountable for that. But on the broader perspective, every time some proposal like the Green New Deal or other advocacy pieces talk about vaguely green investments, I think about this kind of project. This is like there is no technology to replace fossil fuels at this point. Maybe nuclear in the future if we manage to unleash it, but it's not there yet, and it will take time to get it there, if ever. And so when people vaguely talk about green investments and they don't have a concrete plan, I think this is a kind of project we need to think about. It will be a spectacular failure, and gobble up a lot of taxpayer money with very little effect.
Yeah, I mean, one way I think about it, I mean, I definitely agree there's kind of a mania element to it, but there's also a category of investments that I think of as ideological investments. So, I run in free market circles, and there's kind of a subculture in this world of gold bugs. And I don't mean necessarily people who are for the gold standard, which I think has a very strong argument for it, or at least something like a gold standard. But there's these people who just say that, like, constantly, oh, you have to be investing in gold, you have to be investing in gold. And like ideological investments like these, they inevitably have reasons why it's supposedly brilliant. And look, sometimes they can be right, at least temporarily. A lot of the early investors in Bitcoin were libertarians who supported it for political reasons. But they're often not thinking about it as an investment. They're not thinking about it objectively. There's just this dogma that gold is good or renewables are good, or some kind of digital currency not issued by the government is good, and it can lead to really bad decision making. And I mean, at least with gold, it's a value versus, like, I don't even know what the analogy would be for road. I mean, it'd be like a form of Bitcoin that just like ate up your bank account or something. Like it's, you think, yeah, something that just destroys my bank account is probably not a good investment. But that you should just be very wary of, even if you think your ideology is true, of, am I seizing on this as a good idea because it actually makes sense on its own terms, or am I seizing on it as an idea because it fits the kind of moral or political view that I have, or one that happens to be trendy and popular? Because the other way to look at this is that, it's not the people who start businesses like these, some of them may be sincere, others, this is just their get rich quick. Like, the 400th person who comes out with their, keto system diet, you have to be suspicious of. But, that said, I think it's the thing that makes this really bad is that these are often financed and promoted by the government, so that, if some gold bug invests a bunch of money in gold and it turns out to be a bad investment, he pays the price. But when we have the government, quote, invest in these things, we all pay the price.